Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Thrive and Survive Research Hub. I have my co-host here, Tineiwo. T, how are you on this fine Sunday morning?
Alex, morning. I'm very good. I'm very, very good, eh? And how are you doing?
No, beautiful. Fantastic. I feel very well rested. Had a great
Yeah,
Saturday yesterday, and
yeah,
I'm just excited for another great episode. So before this, we were talking on something. We said, hold up, let's save this for the podcast. So
yeah.
I'm going to throw it over to you, and you can kick it off.
Okay, cool. So yeah, good morning to all the listeners and viewers out there. Thanks for tuning in once again to another great episode. So yeah, just a few minutes ago, myself and Alex were speaking about forward momentum or forward movement. And in discussing that, we also spoke about the fact that, the fact that you're doing something doesn't always mean you're progressing. Sometimes doing something the wrong way actually takes you a couple of steps back.
Mm.
So to open up the discussion, Alex, I just wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on that? And to put the question in layman's terms, let's get it out here. For you, obviously, with us acknowledging that direction is not progress,
Mm.
right? And momentum does not mean moving forward.
Mm.
What is your take on obviously starting something the best way without having to make the mistakes that take you backwards?
I think that's such a great thing to touch on because um, often I find people will set off on a task without really knowing what the outcome looks like.
Yeah.
So there's no intention, there's no like clarity and intention in the execution, which
Yeah.
I think is a big, big, big mistake because action, like you say, doesn't necessarily mean progress. And another thing that I take into account is you can't do everything at the same time. And I think this is a macro philosophy for life as well, in the sense
Yeah.
that I like to say you can be and do anything, just not at the same time. So
100%.
depends on the season of your life that you're in. If
Yeah.
you are, let's say you've got a newborn baby, which is a relevant one for you, it's probably
Yeah.
not a good time for you to be worried about sleep, sleep quality,
Yeah.
and hitting
Yeah.
the gym every day for this season of your life.
Yeah.
Because your
Yeah.
priority is different. And it's the
Yeah.
same with training and with work. You need to think about, okay, in audit, we had this thing called busy season, which was a notoriously difficult time because
Yeah.
it's like post year end for the company that you work at, and you're getting the
Yeah.
financials ready. And especially on a listed client, you've got non-negotiable deadlines because they have made public announcements. And
Yes.
if you miss those deadlines, it's a humiliation across the board. So
And potentially your job.
yeah, yeah, and it's just it's your reputation. And it's strange. I mean, not to segue too much from this, but I used to love the adrenaline of a deadline. I loved it. You're in the trenches. It's like late
Yeah.
nights,
Yeah.
lazy. And you know what I liked about it? There's like a purity to the focus of it because
Yeah.
you just don't think about anything else. You just enter this like meditative Zen like state where there's
Yeah.
only the deadline.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily the healthiest thing, but it's definitely the way to get results in the sense of
Yeah.
focus. So we were
Yeah.
talking before this about high performance. And what I was saying is the best people I've ever worked with, they don't care about the volume of their input. They care about their output. So it's
Yeah.
not, oh, yesterday I worked 12 hours, give me a naughty badge. Thank you very much. It's how much progress did I make towards this specific result?
Mm.
And to measure that progress, you have to know what the outcome looks like.
Yeah.
So I guess in like a nutshell, it's having an alignment between the outcome you're working towards and the actions that you're doing right now in the present.
Yeah. 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 Wow. And I like how you quoted that, especially the phrase that you used, the right time. I can speak from a personal perspective around the right time, right? Because I think that alludes to the fact that life is not about making lots of right decisions. It's about making few right decisions
Mm-hmm.
and and then waiting for the results of the decisions that you've made to come to
Mm-hmm.
life, you know?
Yeah.
And like if I and that's why the term that says life is a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a very tactical long journey. And like I think there's nothing more tactical than running a marathon or doing anything that's got endurance to it,
Sure.
because you need to firstly keep up with what is required of you now, not burn out,
Yeah.
but most importantly, also finish the race.
Yes.
And it's the balance of those two that allows you to embark on the journey in the best and most optimal way possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so timing, I think timing when to do what is extremely critical. And I think that obviously allows for you to be results driven or deadline driven in a very healthy way, like you had previously mentioned.
Yeah. And also, it's like intensity management is such a big
Yeah.
part of running a marathon.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that because
Yeah.
this will tie into the next thing I wanted to touch on, but it's like a lot of people will be impatient to get progress towards a result
Yeah.
because they've
Yeah.
been inconsistent.
Yeah.
And so they try and make up for a lack of consistency through unsustainable intensity.
Yeah.
And that's how they burn out. That's how you
Yeah.
find somebody starts a new diet 2 weeks in, giving up
Yeah.
because they just can't
Yeah.
do it. They're miserable, they're depressed, they want to study a degree, but they start
Yeah.
studying 2 days before the exam, and now I don't understand anything. It's so complicated.
Yeah. 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 And I like that the word that you touched on, the intensity management.
Mm,
I think that's something that the minority of society manages to kind of really master.
yes.
And I think this is one of the key differentiators between those who make it and those who don't, right? And just to comment on that intensity management, I think we see it a lot in life when people people set a goal and then they don't manage the intensity of how hard they work towards that goal. Because I think at the end of it, I think 50% of a goal has got nothing to do with you. Your intensity is just half, or your effort is just half. There's other factors that are involved, such as timing,
Yes.
such as your environment, such as luck. There's all
Yes.
these other factors that contribute to it. And when a lot of us put effort into something, we feel that we deserve to get whatever it is we're trying to chase purely because of the amount of effort we put into it. But the reality is that the outcome will never be directly correlated to your efforts. There's
Yes.
a whole mix of conditions that are required in order for you to become highly successful.
Yeah, and I would add to that, the secret to the overnight success story is low intensity over a long period of time, because
100,
low intensity is not flash. It's not something that you put on
100%,
Instagram. No one's gonna
100%,
give you a round of applause for low intensity. But one of
100%.
my favorite quotes by Tony Robbins is, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. And
Yeah,
that's the thing.
yeah,
And to tie it so well to that premise that you were making about luck, opportunities are a thing that is constantly coming in and out of our lives.
mhm,
And when you get lucky, it's when preparation and opportunity align. And it's
mhm,
like this friction that ignites, and then it creates this fire of success, right? So
mhm,
if you are constantly in the background, just working towards your outcome, you create the opportunity for luck to happen. Your probability of luck is so much higher because
mhm,
you're consistently putting that input there. If you're only
100%.
trying once every blue moon, the odds of you getting lucky is so rare because you're not
Mhm,
creating those opportunities for luck.
100%. It goes back to the mix of conditions we spoke about earlier on.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.